Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, sports fans. Welcome to the best sports podcast on the planet, Sports Unfolded, where we cover all of this past week's top sports stories. I am your host, Eric, main man right over there. Ron, how are you tonight?
It's been a different week.
It has been, my friend. It has been a lot going on. We're live in other areas that we're not normally live in. But please, if you are joining us live, please join the chat. Let us know what you think about the topics, or if there's something you want to talk about, absolutely let us know, and we'll be glad to discuss it with you. We also want to take some time to thank those that are helping us expand and get into other markets. We'll start off with WDJY 99.1 FM in Dallas, Georgia, every Saturday at 1 p.m. Thank you for the support, as well as 990 WBOB in Providence, Rhode Island, also on Saturdays at 10 a.m. and SEC TV Public Access Channel 12 in Southeast Connecticut on every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Thank you for the support. We're going to continue to expand. We're hitting some more markets soon.
Denver's coming.
So we're really excited about that. Maybe something in Boston. We're working that deal out right now as well. So we'll be out there. So again, if you're joining us live, we'd love to chat with you. If not, come watch us every Friday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the best sports podcast on the planet and have some fun with us. Ron, it's been a fun week. It's been an interesting week. Just every time we say there's not going to be anything going on, right? The NBA's done right now. No NFL. No NHL. Guess what? There's still stuff to do. There's still stuff happening, man. Still stuff.
There's stuff happening.
So we'll have some fun tonight. Again, if you are joining us live, let us know if you have any opinions. But we're going to start off with our leadoff story, Ron, and that's the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics have made some changes this week. They've made some moves. Thoughts on what they've done so far?
I do not like the Porzingis deal.
I was thinking the same thing.
I don't hate the Holiday deal. I don't hate that one because the guy can score.
Yeah, Anthony Simons is a scorer.
Yeah, so I don't hate that one because you're going to need some scoring from somewhere because of Tatum's not going to be there next year. We know that. So, with that being said, I don't hate that one. I don't like the return on Porzingis at all, but I can understand it because he hardly ever plays.
Josh came on and I think he meant yo, but yo, Josh, thanks for joining.
Woo.
Yeah, Anthony Simons in two second round picks, not bad. 19.3 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, 4.8 assists. Don't like his shooting too much, though. 42.6% from the field, 36.3 from threes. We know how big of a three-point team the Boston Celtics are. Shoots very well from the free throw line, though, 90.2% last season. Played in 70 games. Drew Holiday, 62. So you get a benefit there.
Yeah.
You talked about the Kristaps Porzingis trade.
Yeah.
Porzingis played in 42 games for the Celtics last year. Niang played in 79. So at least you get a guy that you know is going to be there. So I was thinking about this today, Ron. I said, they keep calling Porzingis a unicorn. You know what a unicorn is? Somebody you never see. So he was a unicorn because he was never on the court. We never saw it.
That is brilliant. And yes, obviously they get a guy that's going to come off the bench. Does that mean that Cornette is going to be the starting center?
Right. You know what I'm saying? What do they do with Cornette now? This was a salary dump. They saved $28 million.
Absolutely. We saw this coming, Eric.
$28 million they saved on the luxury tax penalties. But again, to your point, what are they doing now from a big man standpoint? That's going to be a question. Still talk about Jaylen Brown and Derek White possibly getting traded. And that would really change the complexity of this team and what we see from them.
Yeah, if that happens, it's a complete rebuild. And that would be a shame, because if they keep what they got now, I think they can make a run once Tatum comes back for a full season. So we're looking at 2 years from now, a possible run if they keep it together. And I would hate to see them break it up.
Yeah. Listen, Derek White is such a good player. Like, how do you not?
You still have pieces you need.
Right. So I would keep Derek White at all costs, because, again, he does all those little gritty things that make championship teams successful.
And this team is still better than half the teams in the East.
Yeah, even without Tatum, they're probably in the top 8.
Yes.
They may be in a play-in game, but there could be a possibility that this team doesn't fall further than 6.
Right. It is possible. Look, I like Derek White. I would hate to see him go, because I would keep him before I keep Brown.
Which is crazy to think about, right? Like, Brown, all NBA, finals MVP.
Yeah.
we talk about Jaylen Brown.
Like, I'm not saying that. I just have more confidence in Derek White being there because of his defensive ability, because of what he can do offensively as well. And frankly, I think he's more valuable. I'm sorry. I think he's just more valuable to this team.
Yeah, I could see that from a team player standpoint. Like, you look at Derek White, he's going to get more people involved. Jaylen Brown's going to be the predominant ball handler now that Tatum's out, right? So now you look at it that way, and we know how Jaylen Brown has improved, but still is not a great ball handler. Turnovers could be an issue. So I wanted to have a little fun with you, Ron.
Uh-oh.
I always do this, right?
Uh-oh.
I'm adding a split decision for you in this segment today. And the question is, Ron, which player is more likely to step up next season for the Boston Celtics? Peyton Pritchard or Derek White? Which player will need to step up and elevate their game now that Tatum's not there? You lose Porzingis and you lose Drew Holiday.
I think both of them do. But like I said, Eric, I have more confidence in Derek White. I think Derek White takes over the leader of this team if he stays. If they keep these guys together, I think he takes the leadership role in all of this. I don't think it's Brown, but I squarely put that on Derek White's shoulders. And it may be fair or not. It doesn't matter, because that's the kind of player he is, and we still have to wonder what's going to happen with Horford. Look, I think the team should keep him and use him, like I said, as a player coach.
But how much longer can you rely on Horford to give you?
I don't know, but
quality minutes. You
got to go to the well one more year. You have to.
So I guess the question would be is this: do they make more moves, Ron? And if so, does that change your thought process on what they've done already? So to your point, Drew Holiday, listen, I like Drew.
We saw that at the beginning,
But we saw it during the postseason too. Like, you saw, he was a different player, again, had possibly lost a little bit of a step, wasn't the same player as a year ago.
Yep.
Kristaps Porzingis, again, we didn't see him enough to so again, you get a player that at least will be on the court. If they make more moves though, Ron, do you start to look at it as, to your point, rebuild, or do you say to yourself,
if they do another move, with either Brown or Derek White, it's a rebuild. Because you look at where they were at, we knew they were going to be in a salary crunch. We knew this, right? They just got done spending what, $2 billion, 2 point something billion dollars on the team.
6.5 billion.
Oh, 6.5, whatever it was, right? That's pocket change for me,
I know, I hear you, buddy.
But it's you knew it was coming between that and what they would be spending for salaries. You knew they had to dump some because they weren't going to make money this year.
Yeah.
This coming season, they wouldn't make any money. So you can't spend $6 billion and then not make anything the first year.
Yeah, 100%. Again, Brad Stevens does what the ownership came in and intended to do, is say, look, I'm going to need you to save some money. I'm not paying that luxury tax. I'm not paying that second tier, the second apron, where I can't make moves if we need to. I think if they keep what they have in their competitive run, they'll have an opportunity to at least pick up a piece, during the trade deadline, or, sign one of those guys that gets released, because they'll have that option now because they save some money. Yeah,
they got to get it to a point where the team could actually make some money this year, so that way they're not going to be bleeding.
And honestly, that Simons deal was pretty big because he's a free agent after this season. That helps them in that aspect of, if he comes in and he's not what they expect him to be, or doesn't play up to that,
just let him walk.
Right? You let him walk, and it costs you nothing. That to me was pretty, versus having Drew Holiday, who's declining. And again, I don't want to be disrespectful to Drew Holiday, and I don't want it to sound like we're not grateful for what he did.
Very good player.
But you can see, again, the age factor, and it's starting to kick in. They would have been stuck with him for 3 more years.
Yeah. I look at it this way too. The rise of Double P, yes, defensively, he is a liability. I get that. But the guy chips in on offense. And, if you make the playoffs, you can always just get a guy that can play D as a point guard coming off the bench. Yeah.
So it was funny because I heard a comparison the other day, and I'm not saying he's Steph Curry. So please, before anybody gets all upset and says, Eric said, Peyton Pritchard's Steph Curry. But they were talking about defensive liability, and that's been Peyton Pritchard's probably biggest, downside or downfall, is that he's not, very good defensively. Teams take advantage. But so is Steph Curry. Yeah. But if you can get 25 points a game from Peyton Pritchard, I think I take that, even though he's a defensive liability.
I'm so glad they moved to this plus minus in basketball like they do in hockey.
Yeah.
I absolutely love those numbers as a stat for the NBA, because it is telling. Like, we went through this in the playoffs with Brunson. Brunson in that Indiana series was a negative. Terrible defensively, and they exposed him. And they didn't have somebody that they can just bring in after, sit him down for a little while to play defense. They didn't have that guy. Not for what he does. And, look, that's what you're getting with Pritchard. And it's great that you have that score. You can put that in, in his repertoire of things that he does very well, right? Defense is not one of those things he does very well. And maybe he could work on that, right?
He can, right? And again, size matters in this case. But, again, that might be the one reason why teams do try to expose him. Boston likes to do a lot of switching, and he's not going to be able to be competitive when you put a guy 6'5", 6'6" in him trying to defend him. So I got you. Some technical difficulties. So, Yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, the Boston Celtics had to make this move. They have to start to go in a different direction. You can only listen. They did it with Pierce, Garnett, Allen. Like, we knew they were towards the end of the career. You got to make the move. You got to. That's the smart thing to do.
As long as they don't just completely dismantle, I think they should be okay. Look, you got rid of how many million? You know what I'm saying?
28 million is it's a good chunk of change.
Now, if that lowers it so that way they make money, even if it's $10 million, whatever it may be, I don't know. As long as they don't bleed out for the next season.
And I would say this: they still got Sam Hauser, who's making I think it's like $30 million a year. No, maybe not 30. They need to get rid of Sam Hauser.
Sam Hauser, I agree with.
Like guys like that now, if you're going to try to free up some more money and keep those core guys, you need Jaylen Brown. Keep Jaylen Brown. Keep Derek White. Because guess what? Tatum comes back. Now you're a legitimate contender again. Versus, holy cow, we got to try to build a team up and figure that piece out. All right. So let us know what you think about the Boston Celtics. Did they make some good moves? Was this beneficial to the team? Could they have done less and still been where they need to be? Or did they do enough? Or could they have done more? Your opinions really matter on this. We did a Facebook poll, and most people said that they didn't like the Boston Celtics trades. Again, when you talk about a salary cap dump and where they were, I think that this is what needed to happen. And it stinks because you don't get that continuity every year because they keep changing players. And it seems like a thing that continuously happens in the NBA. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be successful and new ownership, and they're going to want to make sure that they are financially stable, you have to make moves that's going to continue to help your team when you do need it and they are competitive, and now you need to pick up a piece. You'll have that money and that financing to do that. Look, they took a shot last season, signed everybody back, signed them to big contracts. And at the end of the day, when you look at it, it didn't work out. They lost in the second round to the New York Knicks, and they couldn't continue to justify keeping these players and then end up not making it to the finals. So I think they had to make these moves. It had to be something that happened. And realistically, at the end of the day, as a fan, you might not like the move. As a business decision and as the future of the Boston Celtics, you have to be on board with this because I think it was the right thing to do.
It took a little while to get back in.
Not a problem, my friend. Not a problem. We're going to move on, though. We're going to talk some NFL. Great Celtic talk there.
Tucker in his dreams.
Tucker. This mother Tucker. Justin Tucker received a 10-game suspension this week. Do you agree with the length, Ron? So if people don't know, currently suspected or allegations of misconduct with 16 massage therapists from 2012 to 2016. Back in 2022, Deshaun Watson received an 11-game suspension for similar violations.
Was it just the number of women not enough?
I guess, yeah, because I think Watson was 20-something, 22 or 23. He fell under the 20 threshold, so they gave him one less game. I think this is stupid. You know what bothers me more about this? He can serve his suspension while he's a free agent. So in 10 weeks, if a team doesn't pick him up as of August 26th, 10 weeks, at week 11, there's a team that could pick him up. His suspension will have been served, even though he's not on a team. He's not on a team. How do you hold a player accountable when he's not on a team? To me, I would be, if a team signs him in the preseason, you lose 10 games. If they sign him December, it's still 10 games. I don't understand how they're going to justify this, the NFL, by saying It's during his preseason and in regular season, even if he's not with a team as a free agent, it still qualifies as serving a suspension. I think it's ridiculous.
That's crap. That's what that is. That's crap. Because even baseball doesn't even do that.
Can I ask you this? We talked about this at length with Deshaun Watson. How does this continue to happen and it's justified by these teams? You can't tell me for 4 years that this wasn't a known issue. And yet, because he was the best kicker in the league, which is crazy to think about, like, right? He's a kicker. But the best kicker in the league, they justified it and allowed him to continue to play. And then guess what happens, Ron? Guess what happens when he had his worst season of his career? It comes out, they cut him. If he was still the top-notch kicker last season, I feel like this would have went a different direction.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, not for nothing, but that skin color makes a difference too.
One game makes a 1 game difference.
One game difference. But think about it. This is a team that cut their running back for,
Oh, yeah.
That video.
A little elevator situation.
So why would they just get rid of him right away and they keep this guy?
Yeah. So, again, underperforming Ray Rice back in the day, they cut him.
Yep.
Underperforming Justin Tucker, they cut him. But it wasn't based on their performance. That's why Deshaun Watson, people still thought there was still that upside, still a quality quarterback. Obviously, he's proven everybody wrong on that one. But at the time,
he didn't prove us wrong.
Right? No, because Sports Unfolded, baby. Best sports podcast on the planet, baby. We know what we're talking about. But if you look at it, Ron, if this guy was still 90% from the field, in field goal percentage and extra points, and last season he missed the most kicks he's had in his career, I think he would have still been on this team and on this roster.
Well, I mean, to think that look, I'm sorry, they knew years ago. But once it goes public, then the team backtracks and does all, whatever they need to do. But if there's a problem, the chances are players know it ahead of time. They knew something was going on. It's not a good look for the team either.
No, not at all.
Not a good look.
Listen, he's kicked in 212 games, 89.1% field goal percentage, 98.5 from extra point, 7-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, 1-time champion. He was staying on this team because of what he meant to this organization on the field.
Yeah.
And I think these organizations need to start to look at what's happening off the field. How are they representing my organization off the field? And what does this look like? I love the fact that you brought up Ray Rice, Ron, because, again, this is the same thing. You know who else was a big star for them? Ray Lewis. There was some allegations with Ray Lewis. Like, they've had some players that are very questionable. But because they were winning, some of that stuff got swept right under the rug. And here's another guy. If he wasn't 35, Ron, and he was 25 right now, I think he's still on this team. If he didn't have the worst season of his career, he'd still be on this team, because I think
and somebody's going to sign him 10 weeks into the season. Mark my words.
And
because look, kickers get hurt too. And, week 9 comes along, they lose their kicker. Guess who they're calling?
This guy.
They're going to call him. They're going to get him ready, not for the week 10. They're going to get him ready for week 11.
Postseason, right? The postseason. They want him in the postseason.
Yeah.
That's when they're going to need him, right? And he's a D-bag. Listen, we've said it before, where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't believe he can deny it all he wants. Something happened at some point with some of these women.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe it wasn't 16. It could be 5. It doesn't condone it. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't matter if it was 1.
Probably a hell of a lot more than 16.
Right. It should be 0. It should be 0. And it's ridiculous because you've said it so many times, Ron. These teams provide these guys with opportunities to have their own massage therapist, and they have medical staffs on site and all these different things. And somehow these guys get involved in stuff like that. If I am a team going forward, I am saying, listen, we approve all of them, period. And that's it. And it should be one person.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, when you think about what teams have to worry about, you know, they have to worry about so much. And I'm sorry, I'm starting to, I thought I'd never hear myself say this. I'm starting to lean towards the owner's side in a lot of these things. Look, they're making a boatload of money. You can't control your urges. You know, you have to assault every woman that you come contact with. I mean, it's just ridiculous already. It is. It's absolutely insane what we see, what we hear, and then that's only a tip of the iceberg compared to what isn't being seen and heard.
Yeah. So let me say this, Ron, and then we can move on. I am getting disgusted with the NFL. Every October, they wear pink. They do this cancer, right?
Oh.
Breast cancer, all this stuff.
BS. And
you allow your players to basically disrespect women and continue to let it happen. And you're going to give them a 10-game suspension, less than the last guy that did it. So you're not even saying, okay, you know what? We're going to give you a heftier suspension because it's getting worse. No, we'll give you less. Basically condoning his actions and telling what's the next guy get? 9, 8 games? Like, you should have made an example saying, hey, we gave Deshaun 11. People should have learned you're getting 15 or you're getting a full year or no, we'll give you less this time. So don't go on TV. You know, Eric, don't make me watch these things in October about how you care about women and their health and everything else. And you're allowing your players to do this and disrespect women in a way and not make them serve punishment that they deserve.
Lose their jobs, period.
They deserve to be punished.
They should lose their jobs. I don't know if, you know, you go to work and if you sexually assault somebody at work, are you going to have a job?
Not at all. Goodbye. See you later. Thank you.
I mean, you're going to be in jail. Not only does he not lose his job, but he's not even going to serve any time. He's not going to serve time.
No, they'll settle something.
It's so disgusting, and I'm so fed up with athletes or musicians or whoever, filmmakers, whatever it is. I'm so sick and tired of their privilegedness. Is that a new word?
I think it is. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? We'll go with it.
You know, I'm just so it makes me sick to my stomach.
It should. You're 100%. You know why, Ron? Because you're a human being and you have feelings. I know you don't want to believe that, but you do. Where some of these athletes that, to your point, actors, musicians, filmmakers, whatever, don't. They think you owe them something. And this is a shit. If you could do that to 16 different women over a 4-year span, why would you even think that's okay?
And you got to look at it this way too, Eric. There's an investigation. Okay. So if detectives are doing an investigation, you know damn well they're questioning teams. So they knew about this. But yet, Got to have our kicker for the playoffs.
Got him. All right. We'll see how this all turns out. I'm sure we'll be talking about this week
He never
11.
gets a job again in the NFL.
Week 11, when he gets a job, we'll talk about it again. All right, Ron, let's move on to our starting five. Cooper Flagg went number 1, Duke University. So we said, let's have some fun with our starting five tonight. Our starting five first-round draft picks from Duke University that have played in the NBA all time. So key was they had to have been a first-round pick. Not number 1, but at least in the first round. So you are first this week, Ron. I'd love to start you off with your honorable mentions. If you have more than one, you really did some stretching.
Okay, so I have 2 honorable mentions.
Okay, that's reasonable.
And my first honorable mention is Luol Deng.
Okay, decent, solid player. I could see that.
14.8 points, 6 boards. Yeah. 902 games, though. That's a pretty good career, right? 2 All-Stars, 1 All-Defensive. Not bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And the other one is Paolo
Banchero, right?
Because he hasn't played enough yet.
Yep, and I have him as an honorable mention.
Those numbers, let me tell you.
Agreed. I got him as an honorable mention as well. We got to see more.
Right.
Yeah. No, I like it. That's the only one I had for honorable mention. Paulo Banchero. So
I just like saying Luol Deng too.
Luol Deng. I don't know.
Dang. It's almost like Lieutenant Dan, but it's Luol Deng.
No.
I
lost my legs. All right. What are we doing? All right, Ron. So let's start us off here at number 5. Who do you have?
Believe it or not, I have Jeff Mullins, number 5. Yes, who's Jeff Mullins?
Yeah, who's Jeff Mullins?
I played a while ago. 804 games played, 16.2 points, 4.3 boards, 3.8 assists. He's got 3 All-Star games and 1 championship.
Okay.
Not bad.
I went at number 5, Brandon Ingram. 19.5 points, 5.2 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 1 All-Star. Brandon Ingram has had a good career. Good.
19.5 points is pretty good.
Right? Good career. Not great.
Bad player.
Good player. But that's why he's 5.
Close. Those 2 guys are pretty close.
That's why he's number 5. So who do you have at 4, Ron?
All right, number 4, little step up, right? Step up. Elton Brand, I have.
Bang, you got it right, my friend.
1,058 games. I cannot believe how many games
he played quite a long time. Yes, he did.
And I like these numbers. 15.9 points, 8.5 boards, 2.1 assists, 2-time All-Star, 1 All-NBA, and a Rookie of the Year. He was a good player.
Solid player. Played Chicago, played in with the Clippers. Very good player. I always liked him. Rumored to come to Boston a few times. I was kind of excited to see, and it never happened. But no, I agree with you. I had him at number 4. Yeah. So that brings us to number 3, Ron. Who do you have at number 3 in the starting five?
1, 2, and 3 really difficult. They're on the screen.
Okay. That's from his Duke
I got
days.
him in his Duke uniform.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty impressive.
And that is who I put at number 3, Grant Hill. It was tough for me to do that. Let me tell you, I like Grant Hill as a player. Just
injuries.
But
the problem, he would have been one of the greatest basketball players of all time if it wasn't for injuries. Those injuries derailed his career to a point where
he still played 1,000 games.
Very good player.
16.7 points, 6.0 rebounds, and 4.1 assists. 7-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. and Rookie of the Year. And
Yeah.
it was tough because I'm looking at those numbers. Those numbers are spectacular, but I couldn't put them above the other two.
Yeah, no, I
Couldn't do it.
agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I went Grant Hill at 3, and it was for that reason. I would have liked to seen a little more. And again, those injuries, it's sometimes with these guys, it's like Bo Jackson in football. Like you would have, if we got 5 years, solid years out of Bo Jackson, it would have been amazing. And we got gypped. And Grant Hill,
yes,
and
I agree with that.
And Grant Hill's one of those same kind of guys. Like,
yeah,
he would have pushed Jordan. He would have pushed like some of those guys that you sit back and go, he had all the skill.
Yeah, because it's not like, it's like you look at him and he doesn't ruffle feathers. He just plays hard, and got a little injury prone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing like too major, but
no, he missed some good time. He had a hit
to hold him back.
Yeah. So at number 2, who do you have?
This was even tougher for me.
I still debate on if I
I'm still debating as I'm about to say it. I went Kyrie Irving.
Ooh, okay.
And I just think if you look at the two of them, they're right there. 23.7, 23.6 for Tatum. But I think it was the other stuff. Like that Kyrie Irving. Look, I love him in Dallas. Love the way he plays. Love what he's done mentally. And, I couldn't stand him. And you know this.
No, believe me. You've spoken to him many times.
The way I feel about him now is completely reversed. And, and you can call me Homer. I don't care. But Jason
it's coming.
7.3 boards over Irving's 4.1 is really the number that is eye-popping to me. And because Irving is a point guard, he didn't have enough assists to offset that.
Okay. All right. So I had Tatum at 2. And I had
it's right there.
We're splitting hairs here. But I will say this. I consider Kyrie one of the purest ball handlers ever step on an NBA court. And that's the one piece that put him ahead for me, is that he can do so. Jason Tatum's extremely talented. Love him as a Celtic. But he's kind of like a lot of other players I've seen.
If only we could have these two guys on the
same team, right? Like imagine if that would have happened. Right. Yeah, and some other guy, Gordon Hayward, that would have been like what a trio.
Oh my God, that would have been a killer team.
But to me, like Tatum, I could say a Tracy McGrady, James Harden, all these guys like that same mold. There's not a pure ball handler like Kyrie Irving, and so I put him ahead for me. But again, it was like I kept flipping back and forth, and I kept debating on it.
I did too.
The funny thing on this whole thing, though, Ron, we struggled to get. You got 7, I got 6. We think about Duke University. Cooper Flag's gonna,
I thought this was going to be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, right. He doesn't have big shoes to fill. Like, listen, dude, you averaged 16, 17 points your career. You're going to be in the top 5 without a doubt.
I mean, I didn't even have Christian Laettner as a contender.
Oh, he was horrible.
He only had
Bobby Hurley, all those guys, man. Not very good. Not very good. All right, Ron, we're going to continue this basketball talk. It was.
And Eric, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
I know I spent a lot of years loathing Kyrie Irving. It like I said, it's totally switched. I respect this guy so much now that I mean, I remember the championships last year. I wasn't worried about Luca. I was worried about
Kyrie. Yeah.
Kyrie because he's got the skill to take over a game.
And he's done it, right? Listen, that year LeBron won in Cleveland with
Yeah.
Kyrie. Kyrie was the key piece, and he hit the biggest shots to keep the Cavs in that series. So
yeah, absolutely.
no, so great list. All right, Ron, let's talk some more NBA. Oklahoma City Thunder have secured the NBA title, won the championship, had about 15 people at their parade. Do you think they
had how many people at their parade?
15, it was ridiculous. Did you see it? Did you see it? Like there was nobody at the parade. Nobody went. Nobody went.
Why?
I don't know. It's Oklahoma. I don't know. Maybe they got other things to do. Wrestle cattle. I don't know. I don't know what they do over there. I probably just offended somebody, but
oh my God. If that, I mean, you know what they're like in Boston.
Yeah, like it would have been insane. And I don't get
Every fan is there. It's not, you know, when we have championships here, we go all out. The duck boats, baby.
Oh, yeah. So I guess the question would be, Ron, can this team become a dynasty?
I mean, they're so young, yeah. But the problem is when they're all free agents, who's going to want all the money?
Yeah, see, it's a football state. Thank you, James. The Sooners, they would have more for college football if the Sooners won than they had for OKC, the Thunder. They had nobody there.
James is right. He's right. You know, when you look at that Midwest area, Oklahoma, Texas, they're football. It's football out there. You know?
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Crazy. So I'll say this, Ron. The NBA, 7 straight years now, different champions. I don't think they can do it. I don't think you're going to see a dynasty ever again in the NBA because they want that parity. They want teams that are.
We're already talking about like San Antonio being the number 2 team now, right? They haven't even, you know, put the trophy on the shelf yet.
Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, Hartenstein, all are up next year.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to keep this team together and be able to do the things you do. And again, Boston tried it. They spent a ton of money last year to keep a team together. And guess what happened? It still didn't work.
Yeah. And they're not Boston. Let me tell you, Boston Celtics make a ton more money than Oklahoma. A ton more. You know, it is a storied franchise.
James nailed it.
You can't pay out the money.
I saw a meme the other day, and it was David Stern, and it was like 8 teams in 30 years, and then it showed Adam Silver, and it was like 7 championships and 7 teams in 7 years. Like it's such a different era in basketball. Yeah, I don't know if it's
changes it,
but I don't know if I agree with that either. I don't know if it's competition or it's just the way the CBAs is designed now, where you can't keep these players for these contracts and expect to do it for 5-6 years.
That's just it. The players are making too much money.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
Every time you hear a player now say, "Oh, they signed a max deal," in 2-3 years they're done. They're not keeping these guys. We assume that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown at some point will get broken up. I wouldn't be shocked if they keep Jaylen Brown this season and then get rid of him next year because they got Tatum's contract.
Yeah.
So you could sit back and this is what they've done in the NBA, and it's a shame because I'd love to see a team that you could say, hey, for the next 5 years, I want to root against.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at this, and it's the same thing for baseball. They're pricing themselves out of dynasties. You know, you can only deal with the Yankees and the Dodgers right now. You know, and that's it. That's it. Those are the only 2 teams that are capable of having a dynasty. And they can't even do it either because, the landscape of the game is just, you can't put all those eggs into the same basket anymore. The basket is too small and those eggs are expensive.
Yeah. Oh, nowadays, right? Yeah. And I agree with you. And it's a shame because I truly think that this team has an opportunity. They're so young, so talented, but they play defense. It's not all about offense. It's not about threes. Like they do things differently. And it's like, you're not going to see it. Not going to see
You're
it.
looking at some of these players are making more than half the teams in the league. I mean, that's
You've got to be willing. You've got to be willing to pay those luxury taxes. And like Golden State Warriors were the last team that did it, right? Golden State 3 and 4 years. Guess what? They paid, and now they're paying for it in the back end, right? Like you just don't have anything left on that team.
Yeah,
you got Curry and Draymond, and that's whoever you can try to fit in.
And if you are unfortunate enough not even to win a championship after going for it, like this is going to have repercussions on Indiana. You think you see a team getting decimated in Boston? Psst. Watch Indiana's decimation.
Think about it. The Clippers, right? The Clippers try to go all in. How many times that failed? Philadelphia now is doing the same thing. Like they were already talking about Paul George being gone. Do they still try to work with Embiid? So again, this is what I'm saying. It's a shame that we can't even see at least a team go back and be like, wow, maybe they can win back to back. Even that's questionable nowadays with the NBA. Questionable.
Well, the Celtics had their chance, but and that's another thing.
They laid an egg, which is expensive too.
You get one injury and that costs you everything.
3 Achilles tears in the playoffs this season. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
All right, Ron, I knew you would want to talk about this because I knew how excited you would be. You probably already, booked your plane ticket to go to San Francisco and be able to see Barry Bonds, who's getting a statue in San Francisco.
I was going to put the big head Barry on this picture.
Do you agree with it? Do you think they're making the right decision by making Barry? Does steroids claims matter? I like the question. Oh, that's pretty good.
Look, I look at it this way.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
I don't care what the hell the San Francisco Giants do.
Wow.
I'm not a fan of the Giants. Okay. Look, they have Willie Mays out there at the entrance. That's that, and that should be.
Yeah. Greatest.
But what I'm
player
saying is, why isn't Christy Mathewson out there? When you look at those numbers, I look at them as soon as I can find them. He's got 372 wins, 185 losses, 2.10 ERA lifetime. Is that not
It's about the flash. It's about the flash, man. Barry Bonds created that era of baseball and what he's meant to baseball. It changed the complexity of the game. You looked at it differently. Chicks dig the long ball, man. He was part of that. And I think you got to look at
like I said, I don't really care what they do.
Second,
I'm not a fan of San Francisco.
Second best, right? Second best player in Giants history behind Willie Mays.
I think third, but that's besides.
586 home runs, 1,440 RBIs, batted .312. 5-time MVP, 12-time All-Star, 9-time Silver Slugger, and 5 Gold Gloves. That's just with San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive. 15 years. Did it feel like he was in San Francisco for 15 years? In all honesty. Like 50, when I saw that, I said, he was there 15 seasons, Barry Bonds. It does not seem like he was there that long.
Whoopie-doo.
Oh my goodness. Give the man
I'm
some
sorry. I
respect.
don't like him. And I don't care what anybody says. This guy
You
is
switched
dirty.
you switched with Kyrie. We'll get you to switch with Bond someday. It'll happen.
I doubt that.
It'll happen. All right, Ron.
I doubt that.
Congrats, Barry. Enjoy your stadium, your statue.
Yeah.
What
Now,
this
they're
must
just
be?
throwing
Is this?
statues out left
I
and
know
right
that
now.
Tom's getting one. Barry's
Everybody's
getting one.
getting a statue. Eric, tomorrow I'm going to put a statue up outside the studio.
Sports Info. All right, let's do it. All right, Ron. Let's move on to some split decisions.
I gotta get the kiln fired up to make that little clay statue.
Hold on. I said size doesn't matter, but I was talking about in basketball. It matters with a statue. It matters with a statue. I want a big statue. If you're going to make it big. Make it big. Split decision time, Ron. Our split decision segment, basically we ask each other two more likely scenarios, and we have to answer and make a decision. So you are first this week. Your first split decision.
All right. Seeming we just talked baseball. I will do baseball first. Which team is more likely not to finish in first place? Not to finish in first place.
Okay.
Chicago Cubs,
Okay.
New York Mets, or the New York Yankees?
So
who are clinging on to a half a game lead, by the way.
My split decision, which New York team is more likely to remain in first place for the end of the season? The New York Yankees or New York Mets?
So I threw the Cubs in there because they're in first place too.
So not likely. So you're going not.
Yeah, they're not. Which team is more likely not to finish first?
And mine is who's going to remain in first. So we'll go with that. All right. So I would say who's not going to remain in first. I think the Mets. More so. I mean, the Yankees are struggling now. They are playing some really bad baseball. But I would say the Mets just because I think Philadelphia is very strong. Atlanta's finally playing better baseball. The quality of teams in the NL East, to me, would present a bigger challenge than in the AL East. And the Cubs, I think that, what are they, Central, they're okay. Those teams are okay, but nobody stands out. So I would say the Mets are least likely to remain in first.
Now
you got who would remain in first, more likely to be in
and
first.
it's just the New York teams, right?
Just the two New York teams. Because to your point, they're both like a half a game. That's it right now.
I would probably say the Yankees, although I'm not so sure anymore. But like you said, I have more faith in Philadelphia catching the Mets than I do. And this probably is wrong in thinking this because we always say this about the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. They don't stack up, right? But here they are, a half a game out.
One of the best teams in baseball again.
Let me say this.
If you look at just where these two teams are right now, it's crazy to think about. Like 3 weeks ago, these were two of the best teams. And we did a split decision, Ron, and I asked you, is Aaron Judge more likely to bat 400, stay at 3, whatever? He's batting like 360. Like he dropped like quick. So yeah, his struggles too, with the team struggles, pretty remarkable.
No, I mean, look, you can't keep that pace up. Not in this league anymore. You know, I don't know. This is, we take a look at this, and Houston is still doing it.
I'd be nervous. All right, Ron, your second split decision.
And don't count out those Toronto Blue Jays either. They're hot on the tail.
Yeah.
They are.
Red Sox
they're
might
like 10 games over 500?
Yeah, Sox might make it. No. Your second split decision, sir.
Bobby
Boucher's back.
Bobby Boucher cutting the grass.
All right.
We have another.
You have another one. Yeah, that's how we play this game here, Ron.
All right, here we go. This is a good one. Kind of like a little spin-off from last week. Who will more likely have the most wins this coming NFL season? Excuse me. Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, Brock Purdy, or Sam Darnold? Who's going to have the most
I would
wins?
never put Sam Darnold in most win category. Kyler Murray is 500 quarterback in my eyes consistently. So that leaves me Stafford and Purdy. San Francisco has the easiest schedule in the NFL based on last year's team performances. I'm going San Francisco. I just think they have a bounce back year.
Purdy.
So Brock Purdy will have more wins.
Because some of these folks could get hurt and just have like one win. Or maybe their team just stinks.
I'm going to Seattle with Sam Darnold. I listen. He cashed in. He got his money. Kyler Murray to me has been an underperforming quarterback. Like all the hype was there. He's
the worst quarterback in that division.
Yeah, he's okay.
Now,
but
and I say this because I read a report that division, and this is not me saying it, has the second best quarterbacks in the league, in the divisions. Yes.
AFC West, I'd probably put number one because of Mahomes.
Right.
And
that was first, and this is second.
Yeah, right. You got Herbert. I don't know about Geno Smith, and then who am I missing in the West there?
They rated this as
Bo
number
Nix.
2.
Bo Nix. So then I'm thinking, let me see. I don't know though. AFC East is yeah. NFC East, yeah. That might be right though, just based on what some of these other.
Like you wouldn't say that NFC East?
No.
Hurts, Dak, and the other guys. I can't think of the kid's name.
You got Russell Wilson and
Wilson,
Jaden Daniels.
Thank you. I couldn't remember.
Maybe.
I mean, Russell Wilson is the worst quarterback probably in that division.
Yeah. Hey, Steamboo.com again. All right, Ron. So my second split decision. I think we were. It's a little weird tonight because we're very similar enough. But which last place team last season, Ron, in the AFC is more likely to make the playoffs this season? The New England Patriots, the Cleveland Browns, the Tennessee Titans, or the Las Vegas Raiders? Which team is more likely to make the playoffs this season?
All right, so we have the Las Vegas Raiders.
Mm-hmm. The Titans.
The Titans, they're not making it.
The Browns.
The Browns aren't making it.
And the Patriots.
Oh, my God, come on. I'm going to say the Patriots.
Oh, man, Homer.
Look, no, and it's true. It's true, but I'm looking at all these crap teams now. With that being said, it's either going to be feast or famine.
Yeah.
Either the Patriots are going to come out and they're going to play very well under a new coach, and Drake May going in there for a second season. Who knows, right?
James Bolton, the Browns. He's really big on Shedeur Sanders.
No.
Shedeur Sanders.
No.
I mean, he's going to be speeding right by the competition. Oh, wait, too soon? Too early? No. Titans rookie quarterback. Raiders, though. Geno Smith.
That would be my second pick.
The problem is, though, in their division, they'd have to get past the Chargers.
That's the problem. That's why I choose
and the Broncos.
The Browns have, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincinnati. If they get their heads out of their butts.
Flacco makes his last hurrah again.
I just think the quarterbacks in those divisions just put those teams out. So then it's Titans and Patriots to me. And I have more faith in in Drake May than I do in anybody that quarterbacks for that team this year.
I think you might be right. You might be right.
I mean, I don't think any of them make the playoffs, if that makes you feel better.
More likely, though, the New England Patriots.
More likely, the New England Patriots.
All right. Let's talk some NHL, my friend. Jamie Benn signs a 1-year deal, remains with the Dallas Stars. Good deal for the team. Good deal.
Yeah, I think with the Dallas Stars, I think they did this very similar to what the Bruins did with Patrice Bergeron.
Yeah, a very good comparison.
You know, I mean,
Kenny,
he'll take a hometown discount, and it's a big discount. And he's the leader of this team who's led them to nowhere.
But you know what? Can I say this, Ron? Because like in all jokes aside, 16-year career, all in Dallas.
Yes,
I'm glad he decided to do this. And the team decided to do this because we've seen so many times that I know I'm going to say it and you're going to get mad at me, but like the Ray Bork, who's just such a staple. Like even we did it with Marchand this year. Like it just seems funny to see them in different uniforms, like regardless of the outcome. Like for the fans to sit back and say, this is our guy now, right? Our captain, he stayed with us. $1 million deal, $3 million in incentives, which they say he's probably going to make because it's like games
same thing
played.
as Bergeron.
I love this. I love it.
They make it easy for the incentives to get.
Yeah, it was like every so many games, 20 games, he gets 500, 30, 40, 60,
right.
80.
And that's what they did for Bergeron. Now, with that being said, it will cost them next season. You know, that cheapness is going to hurt them next year because a lot of that is deferred to the next season.
If you look at it this way, though, too, Ron, like, again, we expected them to break up in this team, right? They went for it. They didn't get there. He's 44 points away from 1,000 for his career. Like, they have something as a fan to at least root for. Their guy, this has been a guy in their organization now for 16 years.
Yeah. And he still got talent. I mean,
right.
And he still play.
Yeah, and they still got one of the best goaltenders in the league, so you never know. But at least this, to me, was something that you don't see in sports too often. Sports, you don't, like, every year it's the same thing. Oh, but this guy's gone, that guy left, this guy.
It was good to see it. I do like the Dallas Stars team. I love a lot of those players. I love how they conduct their business. You know, I mean, it's a very likable team.
Yeah.
Now, if they can keep most of these players together, which I'm still skeptical in that, but that helps. That helps. He's going to take a hometown discount, and it's going to help them sign somebody else. And they still have a couple more to do.
Yeah, no. Listen, I'm glad he stayed in Dallas.
I look at some of the other things, like Tavares re-signed with Toronto. So, 4 years, 17.52.
Where did he go? He went somewhere else, right? And then now he's back in Toronto? Oh, no, he started somewhere else. Didn't he start with the Islanders?
Yeah, he was in the Islanders. And so I didn't think they were going to keep him or Marner. I thought they would go with Marner first. And they signed Tavares, and looks like Marner's probably out the door. And Edmonton is already
Evander Kane, right? Gone. Evander Kane.
Evander Kane traded to Vancouver for like a 4th round pick.
Yeah. And
I knew that was going to happen because he was a non-factor
in the postseason.
Especially in that Stanley Cup Finals. He didn't do anything, and he took a really stupid penalty actually in Game 7. And they re-signed Trent Frederick. I'm stunned at this. Trent Frederick, 8-year deal with Edmonton. And he's making $30.8 million. Man, he was abomination. And I'm sorry, I liked Trent Frederick when he was here in Boston. He stunk in the playoffs for them. 1 goal, 3 assists, and he was just making mistakes all over the place. And I would never have signed him for an 8-year deal. I don't know what they were thinking.
Crazy. All right, Ron, it's pick and roll time.
It's time for pick and roll.
Thank you, Kenny.
Our pick and roll segment tonight. We're sticking with our NHL theme. These are the 2025 Hall of Fame class. We're going to rank them from 6 to 1, and that is Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith, Alexander Mogilny, Joe Thornton, Jennifer Bottenrill, and Brianna Decker.
Talking about throwing in curveballs in this one.
Little couple of curveballs. You are first this week, my friend, so your pick and roll.
You know, this is such a tough list, and I actually can't even believe I'm putting Jumbo Joe last.
Yeah, it was. I almost did.
The man has 1,500 career points, 430 goals, right? He's won a Hart Trophy and Art Ross, 4-time All-Star, and I have him last on the list. I don't even know what to say. I'm sorry, Joe. Like, when he came into Boston, he was easily at that point, because that was when they got rid of Ray, and they brought in Jumbo Joe, and he was likable, right? Smiling all the time. I don't like him with the beard. He looks kind of creepy. But pure talent. Guy is talented. I cannot believe he's got to be the best player to ever play in the NHL not to win a Stanley Cup. Has to be. I don't think it's even a question. Last on this list, though. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, this list is a great list. Number 5, I have Alexander Mogilny. 473 goals, 1,032 points in 990 games. The only NHLer on this list that averaged more points than games. Mm-hmm. Incredible career. 3 Stanley Cups. 3 All-Stars. 2
Wasn't he that?
Wrong guy. 2 All-Stars, 1 Cup.
Yeah, he's the one
and
Bing.
a Lady Bing.
Bing.
I was reading the wrong guy.
He was the thanks for participating, wasn't he? I think it was his final year of eligibility or something, and they put him in. So
yeah, he deserves to be in there, though.
All right. So who do you have it for?
Number 4, I have Zdeno Chara.
Wow, I did not see that one. Okay.
Big Z, number 4 for me.
Wow.
I mean, there's so much to like about Chara. And most of him isn't even on a stat sheet. That's what he's such a great leader. But looking at the numbers, I just couldn't put him in. Plus 301 is incredible. 1 Cup, 7-time All-Star, 1 Norris Trophy, 1 Messier Trophy. Big Z at number 4. Always be, my 3rd favorite defenseman. Well, maybe not really. Yeah, now that I think about it, I'm thinking of a bunch of others.
Let's not do this.
Yeah. So
one of your favorite possibly could have been a basketball player, defenseman. How about that?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. There we go. All right. Number 3, I have Duncan Keith. The only reason why he's ahead of Chara is because he's won an extra Norris Trophy and 2 Stanley Cups more. So I had to put him in just ahead of Chara.
Okay. All right.
You know, plus 159.
Yeah.
But those the two Stanley Cups and a Norris Trophy are big. And he also won the Conn Smythe Trophy for playoff MVP.
He did.
So
Good call.
So that is also another positive. So I had to go Duncan Keith and those Chicago Blackhawks, right? I mean, he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. Now, whether I would take Zdeno Chara over him would probably be, but looking at the numbers, I can't. That leaves the top two, and it's really not fair to compare the two, but when you do compare the two, Brianna Decker is number 2. Look, pro games, 103 pro games. Look, I mean, we know why, because the women's leagues are really just getting started.
Yeah, and she's been on like 4 different, because they're all, yeah.
Yeah. So she's played 103 pro games. She's got 87 goals in 103 games. That's crazy. 184 points in that time. Now, 1.8 points per game is pretty good. Pretty good. But she did have a gold and 2 silvers for Olympics. 6 goals, 2 silvers for the World Hockey Championships. 6 gold. But she's only number 2. Because number 1, Jennifer Botherill. 276 pro games. 285 goals. She gets more than a goal a game. That is insane. And I don't care what league you're in,
You're
play.
Pretty good. Yeah, you're pretty good.
If you're scoring more than a goal a game, you're good. Great, actually. But she also had 344 assists on top of that. So when you think about it, anybody that scores 3 points a game is pretty good. 3 points a game. So you're up, when you lace up those skates and you step out on the ice, you're up 3-0 before you even do anything, basically, because she's good for 3 points. 3 Olympic golds and 1 Olympic silver. 3 golds. In the World Championships, 5 golds and 3 silvers. And in those games, in the World Championships, 92 games, she had 49 goals and 68 assists in the World Championships. It's crazy. It's crazy. She was easily number 1. She's so well decorated. Yeah. I mean, you can't not put her number 1.
Yeah. No, listen, we saw this a lot different, but the same at the same time, if that makes sense. At 6, I had McGillney. And again, I could see why you would put him at 5. I kept going back and forth. I did.
I went back and forth with those 2.
Yeah, 500 points more for Thornton. I gave Thornton the 5th spot.
Yeah.
I went Duncan Keith at 4.
Yeah.
Instead of Chara.
You're not really different than me.
But then this is where I had Decker at 3.
Yep.
Because when I compared it to Jennifer, I didn't think they were as close.
No.
So that put Chara at 2 for me.
Okay. No, I can see that.
And the reason why is I'm a massive plus minus guy when we do these lists, and plus 301 is extremely impressive to me.
Yeah. So like I know Joe Thornton and McGillney, they were right there.
Yeah, they were kind of, you could flip flop them and it wouldn't.
And then 2, 3, and 4, I was struggling with big time.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Jennifer Botherill. 3 Olympic golds, 5 golds in the World Championships, 3 silvers in the championship, 1 silver. Just you immensely decorated, 117 points international, just ridiculous.
Scoring ability.
So yeah, well deserved.
But she was way ahead of everybody.
Yeah, and you could sit back and people like, oh, you said it, you throw those curveballs in, and then those curveballs were actually straight fire fastballs that went down the pike, and you can't hit it because they were good. They were good.
Yeah,
Both of these ladies were very good.
Like the whole thing, 285 goals in 276 pro games. That's crazy.
That is nuts. All right, Ron, real quick, let's let the fans out there know about the Hall of Fame. If you're interested in voting for our Hall of Fame, what a great class of athletes we already have in the Sports Unfolded Hall of Fame. But again, you, the fan, get to vote, and we are currently.
Oh, and that website. What's that? Oh, the website page. Oh my God.
Right. It's Check that out, the Sports Unfolded website, and you will see the Hall of Fame page and all of these wonderful athletes that have gotten in. But our polls are open now on Facebook on the Sports Unfolded Sports poll page. For the NBA, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wes Unseld, Bob McAdoo, and Willis Reed are all nominated, as well as for soccer football, Ronaldo, Zinedine Zidane, Paulo Maldini, Roberto Carlos, and Luis Figo. So jump on the Facebook Sports Unfolded Sports poll page, and you can cast your votes to help nominate one of them to be elected into the Sports Unfolded Hall of Fame for next month. As well, Ron, it is prediction time, and our predictions, we love to have some fun with the fans. Yeah, not a great week for us last week, but you did have a top 5. You had finished second, your driver last week. So that's what gave you a head. Gotta go. All right.
Second.
Make sure
close.
Make sure you vote there.
I still went 4-3 though.
3. James, get a bounce back here. You were 3-4 last week. Hopefully Kenny's still on. We get him back into the race here. But if you are on live and want to join and get your name added to the prediction chart, please tell us who you think will win these games.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people watching.
We will get you on that chart. Yeah, I got smoked. Yeah, you didn't have a good week, Jake. But 3-4 is still respectable considering we were 4-3. It wasn't like anybody ran away with it. All right, we're going to start off, Ron. Tonight, got the first place, 56%. Not bad at all, James. Chicago Cubs at the Houston Astros, a 3-game series for these 2 first-place teams. Who do you have?
I'm going to go Houston. I mean, they've been playing well. I don't know how they're doing it.
Every time. Them, the Rays, like every time you're like, this is it. I'd like to say Houston, we have a problem, but Chicago, I think you have a problem because I'm going to Astros as well. I think they're going to win this series. They're playing. Oh, James going Cubbies.
James going Cubbies.
All right. All right. Anybody else out there live? Let us know who you think will win that series. 6:30, Ron. And it's not the time. It is the date. The San Diego Padres at the Philadelphia Phillies. This is a big 3-game series. Both of these teams in second place right now, obviously needing some help.
Yeah.
I'm going Philly here at home. I like the Phillies.
I went Phillies as well. We could have a new first place team this weekend.
Yeah. Yes, we
That's
may.
what I think is going to happen. I think they sweep, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think the Phillies have a great team, to be honest.
They really do. They do.
I mean, they're pitching. I mean, those guys are horses. I'll tell you.
He's going Padres because he can't deal with the Phillies. All right. Tonight as well, you got the New York Liberty at the Phoenix Mercury. What do you have?
I'm going to go the New York Liberty in this one. I think. Wait, didn't the Phoenix Mercury just give them their first loss of the year
They are now
a couple
3
weeks ago?
losses and
Yeah,
they've
I'm just saying. I
but
think
yes, they it was the Mercury that gave them their
right.
first loss.
I think there's going to be a revenge factor,
Ooh, I like it.
and Liberty are going to come to play. They're going to get off that losing thing.
Yeah.
Right now.
Give me Lady Liberty in this one. I agree with you, Ron. James going Liberty as well. Also in the WNBA, we've got the Minnesota Lynx currently with the best record in the WNBA at the Atlanta Dream. Guess who's keeping their best record in the WNBA? That's Minnesota, because I'm picking them to win this game.
Yeah, I'm absolutely picking them as well. They're pretty good. That's a team that the structure of what they do from game to game has been so consistent. And you gotta look. The coaching that they've done for this team has been outstanding. I think Minnesota easily.
Minnesota. All right, MLS action. The 29th, you got the Philadelphia Union at the Columbus Crew. I went Philly here. Was it your pick? Yeah, I went Philadelphia on the road.
Might have been. I am gonna go Columbus at home. I just like the name of their team.
The Crew.
Yeah,
the Crew, man. They sound like they sound like badasses. I agree with you.
Right. You know. All right, Bobby.
Not
come on.
Philly. You will not pick Philly. All right.
You were gonna have noise.
Yeah. Big fight tomorrow. I'm sure you're dying to see this one. Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in Anaheim, California, in the Honda Center. What do you have, Ron?
Well, the fight is going to be rigged, so I'm going to go Jake Paul. I'm sure he's paying for everything.
The last fight was not rigged.
Jake Paul, probably somewhere in the 5th, 6th round,
James going Jake Paul. I'm going Jake Paul as well. I think, again, these fights are all staged for him to win. So I agree with you there. All right, Ron. NASCAR, let's see if we can do it again. This Saturday, a Saturday race, a little different. Quaker State 400 in Atlanta, Echo Park. We need a top 5 driver. What do you have?
I'm going to go Ryan Blaney.
Hey, all right, buddy. Ryan Blaney.
1 win so far. He's due. He is due for a win. 7 top 5s.
Yeah, we both have the same one. All right, Ryan Blaney. I'm going Ryan Blaney as well. Yes, I know we picked Tyson. We all thought.
And he should have won if it was real.
If he actually fought, yeah.
Yeah, he was holding everything back.
James, who's your top 5 driver here?
So we both went Ryan Blaney.
Yes, Ryan Blaney.
Chase
Elliott. Doesn't he pick Chase Elliott every week?
Yeah, but in this case, I think that's a good pick.
All right, we'll see who gets a top 5 driver.
I was considering him. He was my 3rd guy.
That is our prediction segment for this week. Tune in next week to see how you'd made out. Ron, let's discuss sponsorships. How can someone become a sponsor of this great sports podcast, the best sports podcast on the planet, get their names and advertised all over the planet?
You might think we'd have a line of them, right? You might think that. But look, to sponsor the show, your ad will be here.
You'd be the first
we'll read the ad. So not only will people see it, but it will be heard on the audio version for Spotify, Amazon, Red Circle, and many more. So send us an email at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. And Eric, it's like I say every week, it's like going to your local coffee shop and getting a nice iced coffee with, a nice egg sandwich
Ooh.
with the cheese and the
Oh,
bacon.
yeah. Oh,
On
yeah. Now you're
it could
talking
be
my
an
language.
English muffin. It could be a croissant.
Oh.
Or, if you're lucky enough, they do the biscuits.
Mm-hmm.
Love biscuits. Love biscuits. So it's
So
just like that.
check that out. Become a sponsor for Sports Unfolded. Again, hundreds upon thousands of eyes on audio and visual platforms. So many different ways you can have your business heard. We also want to thank once again those that are continuing to help us grow. WDJY FM in Dallas, Georgia, 99.1. Thank you for putting us on every Saturday at 1 p.m. as well as 990 WBOB in Providence, Rhode Island, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. and SEC TV Public Access Channel 12 in Southeast Connecticut on every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. If you are watching or listening to us, check us out Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join the chat. Let us know what you think and continue to get involved. Like, share, and follow us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, MeWe. Is there something we're not on right now? I don't think
probably. Well, there are, but it's being worked on.
All right. So, Ron, it is about time to end this show. And on our show, we do our final thoughts. And our final thoughts don't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. It could be about anything happening in the world today. You are first this week, my friend. So your final thoughts.
It's that time of year, right? Where everything's settling down and, sports will be limited on what you can watch, what games are going to be on. But let us not forget about the WNBA. Let us not forget about Major League Baseball. And Eric, I got to tell you, I've watched a couple of games.
I'm shocked.
Watched a couple of games. So, there is still stuff out there to see. There's plenty. Yes, we miss watching NFL games. Yes, we miss watching NHL. Yes, we miss watching the NBA already. It's only been a week. Mm-hmm. Not even. But there's still stuff out there. Hey, why not partake in some pickleball matches? You never know. You might like it. I watched a kickball game.
What's on, right? The Ocho.
Yeah. NFL starts in,
about a month.
Less than 2 months. 1 month. Yeah, right. It's only July.
Yeah. Camps open in July. Yeah.
Go on vacation now. So that way, when you come back, you're ready for the NFL season, and then soon NHL, and then even the NBA will be back before you know it.
Yep, there's a great time in sports where all four are going at the same time. It's September, October. Yeah, right. So
yeah.
I will say this:
when NFL comes back.
If you do go on vacation, just make sure you can still continue to watch Sports Unfolded.
Absolutely.
All right.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Well said, Ron. My final thought is actually strange one, because again, I don't know why this bothers me, but Austin Reeves of the Los Angeles Lakers has declined an offer for 4 years, $90 million, and will test the free agent market next season. And I look at it this way. You've watched 3 superstar players go down with Achilles injuries. You have an opportunity to sign a 4-year, $90 million deal as to me, average player, maybe a little above average. I mean, you're betting on yourself, which, listen, Saquon Barkley did it, worked out pretty well for him, right? There's a couple of guys that it happens.
Yeah, there's a difference between him and Saquon Barkley.
Right, exactly. So Austin Reeves, like whoever's in your corner, whoever talked to you, whoever said, you know what, kid, play 1 more year and you're going to get paid in free agency. You better hope they're right, because that contract is not coming back to you if you get injured. That contract's not coming back to you if you don't have another 20-point a game season. that's a big gamble.
Like, he's never been a star player.
Exactly. So why would you pass that up? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but he did it. I wish him luck, because sometimes we say gamble on yourself. Good luck on this one. That's a big gamble.
He's not getting that money anywhere else.
Yeah, that's a big gamble. So Austin Reeves, hopefully you made the right decision. That's my final thought. So Ron, it has been a fun show. I want to thank James for joining us live. Who did we have on earlier? Somebody else jumped on. Ben. Right. So thank you. We do want to say, listen, like, share our show as much as possible on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, MeWe. Check us out. Check out that Sports Unfolded website. What a great site that is to see that Hall of
I got to
Fame.
put that on the graphics next week.
And we will go there. James, thank you so much. As always, we appreciate the support. And again, we will see you next week, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on all of our social media platforms. And all we ever ask for every single show, Ron, is that we have peace on earth, and we mean it.
Have a great night, everybody.